Hey, how's it going? Welcome to TL Check. Today's episode is about change. It's a sensitive issue and people get really defensive about it. Change is nebulous and ill-defined. It's scary. When you hear people talking about localization, usually the biggest complaint that comes up is they changed it. Last time we learned there are situations completely out of the translator's control where changes must be made because the game's code demands it. This time, it's a little different. The game for today is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Released by Konami in 1997 on the PlayStation, in 1998 on the Saturn in Japan, and ported repeatedly to modern consoles in the past 10 years. I bring up the Saturn version because that was actually my first experience with the game. I sank dozens of hours into it not knowing a lick of Japanese, bought the US version on the PlayStation and did it all over again. Words cannot convey how much I adore every element of Symphony of the Night, including the original English translation. The voice acting needs work, but the lines themselves are memorable, and they do a great job of portraying characters that would otherwise be alien to the English-speaking audience. When I originally scripted this video, I wanted to do a deep dive into the translation, but I feel that doesn't actually help in this case. What we need today is history. Let's journey back to 1792 in the Transylvanian countryside of Romania. I think most people know that the intro stage in Symphony of the Night is actually the final stage of Rondo of Blood with some embellishments. Most of the dialogue in the Japanese version is actually lifted directly from the ending of the previous game. It's a really cool way to link Rondo and Symphony together directly, and it would make anyone who played the original PC Engine game in 1993 incredibly excited. Akumajo Dracula X Chi no Rondo did not get released outside of Japan until 2007 on Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles on the PSP, a full 10 years after Konami released Symphony of the Night in America. Very, very few people outside of Japan would get the intro the way the developers intended. Internationally, most players got introduced to Richter Belmont via Castlevania Dracula X on the SNES, a reimagining of Rondo of Blood that's missing a lot of things that made the original game special, like voice acting and cutscenes. So Richter has no established characterization in the US outside of protagonist for an SNES Castlevania. There's no nostalgia for him at the time. Devoid of that nostalgia, the cutscene's dialogue had to be changed to strike a chord with the audience. Put yourself in the translator's place for a moment, ignoring the fact that Jeremy Blaustein is super accessible on Twitter and Facebook. You've got this new, really cool game to work on, and you know it's something special, but the dialogue as it is makes absolutely no sense to the audience that you're releasing the game for. What do you do? In Jeremy Blaustein's case, he took some important themes in the conversation, like man's relationship to the divine, and he riffed on it.
Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
Gone are the lines about noble hearts and gathering to move forward, replaced by a blasphemous vampire offending the hunter's sensibilities. The spirit of the dialogue is still there, it's just in a new form. One that people still quote to this day over 20 years later. I can still spout it out from memory in English, which is better than a lot of translations I can think of. I know it's hard to conceptualize that a good translation sometimes isn't a translation, but that's kinda how the art goes. There are times where getting the spirit of the piece is more important than the letter. Sometimes it really pays off and you make magic. Other times, well, that's a story for another day. If you'd like further insight into the differences between the Japanese and US versions, I'd say to check out Legends of Localization's quick comparison article linked in the description. Also, Jeremy Blaustein wrote a great article for Polygon on the localization for Metal Gear Solid that briefly touches on Symphony of the Night. It's a wonderful read, so get to it. Change isn't so scary when you know the reasoning behind it. Hopefully this will inspire you to research your favorite games and see what magic the localization team wove for your entertainment. Thanks for watching. See you soon.